As you already know, English has a lot of verb tenses. No matter what your level of English is, you've probably at least heard about the three simple tenses: past simple, present simple, and future simple. Let's take a look at a few examples. Past simple. I visited an old friend last month. Present simple. I usually visit my parents on the weekend. Future simple. I will visit John next Sunday. Today, we're going to talk about how to pronounce regular verbs in the past simple tense. How do we form the past simple tense? We take the base verb and add ed to the end. The problem is that this ed ending has three possible pronunciations. We're going to learn a few simple rules that we can apply to any regular verb that allow us to always know how to correctly pronounce the past simple tense. Our first rule applies to base verbs that end in t and d. Let's take a look at our example from earlier in this video. I visited an old friend last month. Here, the base verb is visit. When the base verb ends in t or d, we form the past simple tense by adding id to the end of the base verb. Visit, visited. Let's also take note of the number of syllables in each word. Visit has 2 syllables. Visit. Visited has 3 syllables. Visited. When the base verb ends in t or d, we will add 1 syllable to form the past simple. Let's take a look at some more examples. Want, wanted. End, ended. It's important to recognize that when we say that the base verb ends in t or d, we are not talking about the spelling, but we are talking purely about the sounds. Let's take a look at a few more examples where the final sound of the base verb is t or d, even though the last letters are not t or d. Complete, completed. Divide, divided. So what about all the other sounds? If the final sound of the base verb is a voiced consonant or vowel, then ed is pronounced as d. If the final sound of the base verb is an unvoiced consonant, then ed is pronounced as t. The reason for this is something called assimilation. Assimilation is a phonological process where one sound becomes more like a nearby sound. D is a voiced consonant, and therefore ed is pronounced as d after other voiced consonants and vowels, which are considered voiced. T is an unvoiced consonant. Therefore, ed is pronounced as t after other unvoiced consonants. Amuse, amused. Play, played. Hope, hoped. Produce, produced. Notice that for all these verbs, the past simple has the same number of syllables as the base verb. This is different from base verbs ending in t and d, where we saw that the past simple form has 1 more syllable than the base verb. Many native Russian speakers tend to add this syllable to all past simple verbs, even those that don't end in t or d. Let's see if we can hear the difference between the correct and incorrect pronunciations. Amused, not amused. Played, not played. Hoped, not hoped. Produced, not produced. Let's review our 3 rules for pronouncing regular past simple verbs. Rule number 1. When the base verb ends in t or d, we form the past simple tense by adding id to the end of the base verb. The past simple form will have one more syllable than the base verb. Rule number 2. When the base verb ends with a voiced consonant or vowel, we form the past simple tense by adding d to the end of the base verb. The past simple form will have the same number of syllables as the original verb. Rule number 3. When the base verb ends with an unvoiced consonant, we form the past simple tense by adding t to the end of the base verb. The past simple form will have the same number of syllables as the original verb.